Hello and welcome to the Nordic Takedown podcast. My name is Jason the Captain Kirk, also known as Fun Daddy, and we are here today to talk about pre-release, to talk about new cards, new decks, new everything, new prices even, but we'll get onto that later. I'm here with Victor. Hey, how are you doing, man?
Hello.
And I'm here with Adam. I'm so humble. How you guys doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm just recovering from my flu that I used to have, but I'm feeling much better now.
Have you been looking after Sweden for me? That's the question. Yeah,
we're taking good care of it.
I think
so. Nice. I've been in England for a week and got back at midday today. The morning flight. I was up at 4 a.m. local time, and yeah, it was fun. But I was like, I have to come on tonight, turn the mic on, and talk about my experiences. So otherwise, I'd have just left you with Victor and Adam again. And
that's no fun for anyone.
I mean, the last episode. Rough. Seriously, the numbers, guys, from the last episode. You got to do better.
Yeah. It's embarrassing.
Oh dear! So it has been pre-release weekend just gone. What a weekend it was. You guys, were you played pre-releases as well?
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Adam, you
pre-release.
You were at my local.
Yes.
I wasn't there, but you came down to Kvivda. You were at the Manitorsk, and Victor, you played 3. You said.
Yeah, all over the place.
All over the place.
All over Mälardalen.
Yeah. Where did you play them?
I played here in Uppsala, and that was just a sneak peek preview. We have our actual pre-release this Wednesday, and then I played Stockholm and Västerås.
Oh, nice. And you've got 2 coming up as well, maybe?
Yeah, 1 or 2 left.
Of course. Nice. Some should be so lucky, right? Some should be so lucky. I am so jealous. Excellent. And I played in Oxford. We're going to jump straight into this now. So our Keyforge week, blimey, I still can't drop that game. I did love it too much, Keyforge. Our Star Wars week. Let's jump straight into it because it's going to be about our pre-releases, right? And if you guys don't mind, I want to start because I did my pre-release on Friday night, and I did awfully, but I had the best time that I've had at a pre-release, despite not doing so well. I just didn't get the cards, unfortunately, but that's okay. I was so gutted that I couldn't find. I was going to miss the Manitorsk one, especially because it was their first tournament in their new digs, in their new shop, which isn't it nice?
It's amazing.
It's incredible.
A lot better than I thought, actually.
Yeah.
Like I thought. I said it to the hosts of the store,
the owners, yeah.
And I was like, people really hype up the new places and everything, like, because you're moving there, you know, like if you're moving to your house, you're hyping up your house because you want it to be nice. And for someone outside, you feel like, is it really that good? It's probably not that good. And then I was there like, it is actually that good, which was really, really nice. And they have the tables were really nice, everything, the lighting for being in a basement. It was great.
I went to their opening last weekend, and I remember seeing a video of my friend Eric who works there, and he was kind of doing a load of social media when they're unpacking boxes, and he shows down the stairs and just shows there. It's like, whoa, that's huge downstairs. And he only showed the bit that goes up to the Warhammer stuff. He didn't show the whole area to the right hand side. And when I went down, I was like, what? Like the whole shop underneath in the basement area, they've got like 80 tables and stuff, and it's like 3-4 times the size of the shop upstairs. Yeah. And they've got so much space now, and it's such a good place.
Not 80 tables, but 80 seats.
80 seats, yeah.
Still a lot.
That's just me, bigging them up. I love those guys. Anyway, but I was so gutted I was going to miss that one out. So I went searching around, okay, where could I find pre-releases near to where I'm going to be staying in Oxfordshire? And I found one place 20 minutes away from where my parents live, in the tiny little village just outside another small town, at a little cafe that is It's called the Ox Shed Cafe. It's just outside Chelsea, and there's no houses near to it. There's not that many houses at all near to it. It's like a cafe in the middle of nowhere.
Roadhouse.
And it turns out the owner of it. They bought it a couple of years ago, and he's trying to turn it into a board game, do more and more board game nights and everything there. And he really enjoyed Star Wars, and so he's pushing to get Star Wars, and so he's trying to build up as well, and he's really trying to push to get a store show down there. They're really gutted they haven't had a store show down there yet. They're normally about 6 people. We were 16 people on Friday night.
Ooh.
So I went out, I got in touch with him. I said, look, I'm coming over, really want to get there. I've been chatting to him for a few days beforehand, and it was a really, really good night. I met another guy called Jason, which is really strange. I felt like anyone from Sweden, because like even Victor, Adam, there are other people called Victor and Adam in Sweden, right? Johan, Sven, people like that. I never get that in Sweden, where I meet someone else called Jason. I met someone else called Jason, and it was really weird. And he instantly started calling me Jace. It's like, I haven't been called Jace since I was at school, right? You know, this. I was like, this is incredible. Like, I am having such a good time, and I haven't even started playing yet. Sat down, had a bacon brie and cranberry panini, and I was just like, wow, this is like the dream night. Met other people, and it was absolutely really good night. Freshly baked bread, like cakes and everything, local beer, local EPAs, stuff like that. Incredible. Wait, what? We're talking about Star Wars tonight, aren't we? Star Wars Unlimited. I need to get back on
but I'm getting hungry.
This is now a foodie.
This is now if you were ever going to Oxfordshire, good cafes to visit. But Juan at the Ox Shed Cafe, he is super nice guy. Went in there. He even let me buy a box as well because it was pre-release and everything. But anyway, so we got to our places. And I built a what's his name? Quinlan Voss.
Yeah,
that's nice.
And I was like, I had so many choices. I had Maul, but I had nowhere near as many villainy cards in my pool as well. So I was like, instantly all the villainies were just out the window because I didn't get a Palpatine. Which was a shame. So I went Quinlan Voss because I had a lot of low cards, almost too many 1-drops. Looking at the list now, but it just felt pretty good because looking at the cards, I had a good amount of what's the word, like trooper creation, token creation.
Token
on
creation.
that one as well. Looking at some of the cards, when played, when damaged, when defeated, create a trooper, and it was doing okay. And the Quinlan Voss's thing was great, just doing those 1 pings and everything. And then on the top end, I had the Zillo Beast.
Oh, cool.
I even had,
me too.
Yeah, I even had the Invasion of Christophersis as the legendary of that box. It's like, well, you know, if I possibly could, why not? I had what's her face with the rare with the lightsaber.
Well, there are a few.
Asajj Ventress?
No, Luminara.
Oh yeah, because it's heroic.
Of course, a hero.
Luminara, and so it felt like it could be pretty good. However, I got paired up against as a top seed against their main guy, really nice guy called Will, and it turned out, and he was their main guy that goes to the tournaments. One of the few kind of non-casual guys that goes there. He knows games and stuff like that, and instantly you get paired up on table 1 with him, and I was like, okay. And he knew everything. He knew what to do. He knew everything. And he played Ahsoka, and as soon as he got the lights, it was like playing against Sabine with the dark saber. Is it the General Saber?
Yeah.
It makes things cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The General's Blade. That's the one. I've got a copy here. As soon as he got the General's Blade onto Ahsoka, I'm just like, yeah, it's too strong, and I couldn't do it. Otherwise, I'm meeting him 1-for-1. Lost the first game. Second game, I couldn't spend a resource for 2 turns. My drew that bad. My drawing was so bad. Because the first game, I was actually... Those one pings were amazing from Quinlan Voss. Like, I was clearing its board, I was just knocking, little bits here and there, and it just tipped to the point where he could get out the leader, put the blade on, and he took over there, and I couldn't keep up. Second game, the drawing was so bad. It was pitifully bad. And so, yeah, there we go. Second game, I lost... I think it's just a bad matchup because those one pings I was playing against. Was it the droids the where they are when destroyed 1 damage, but then they deal 2 damage to your base?
Yeah, there's the red droids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the one ping that I could do on them to clear his board, I was actually damaging myself as well. And it's just all these little... So there was close games, but I was like, okay. So I went down 2-1 against a... Was it Grievous or Dooku? Anyway, I think it was against a Dooku there, and yeah, it was close games, but I couldn't. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch, and so like I did on the pre-release beforehand, and so I switched over to a Anakin Green because it was just so easy just to pick up those card pools and take out the villainy cards and just go with it. And I had so much more fun with Anakin Green. He can really pack a punch when you bring him out. And it's okay to take some damage. Like coming out, take 10 damage, and he could really. And it was like, oh wow, he's hitting for 8. Oh wow, he's hitting for 9. They were a little bit confused, and I thought I had the game. Against I think it was against this guy called Gary, and I thought I had the game, and he was just dealing with my board. I was like, okay, I just need to take that killer punch, and then it was too late for me, and I got too cocky and lost it. But he's also had the advantage that he's been playing his deck for 2 more matches, and I just picked mine up as well. But I wasn't that bothered because I was still trying to work out, okay, how can I best work around this? The other thing that was really good, the Underworld Bounty Hunter, the new red 7-drop.
Aura Singh.
Yeah, that is such a good card.
She was actually really solid in Sealed, I think. Especially when you create a lot of clones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was okay.
Yeah, exactly. And just like the little things, like it's a big thing, it's got Overwhelm, and then it redders every time you hit the base. Like, you've got to kill it. And it just distracts away from everything. Unfortunately, I had 2 of them in there, and it just didn't do enough as well. So yeah, that was kind of my experience beyond the good food, the good beer, and the good company. So then I bought a box, went home, and I was actually camping out the last few nights in my parents' back garden in a tent with my son. He'd already gone to bed. I had bought a box, and so I was like, I really have to open it. So I was opening a box of Star Wars Unlimited by torchlight in a tent. That's
the way
night.
To go, mate.
That's how we do it in Britain. Yeah,
that's what we call addiction in Sweden.
That's what we call life in the board game world. So that was my pre-release. Hopefully we still have some listeners here because that was there. But if you are in England, if you're in Oxfordshire, if you're actually listening internationally now, get yourself down to the Oxshed in Cholsey, just outside Wallingford, because they are a really nice bunch. They deserve to have people enough to have a show down there because I think they do it really, really well. Very well organised, very well done. A really chilled out night. We had like 10 minutes in between rounds as well, so people can buy beer and cake and stuff as well. So it was a proper chill, really cool night. So that is. We had Palpatine as well. But I can come on to that a little bit later, I guess, when we're talking about some of the leaders as well. But Palpatine, they had a lot of fun with Palpatine. I didn't play against it, which was I was a bit gutted, but yeah, that was my pre-release. Have you guys got questions, or should we go on to Adam's?
Do you have any questions, Victor?
No, not really.
No.
I think that was quite exhaustive.
Yep, that's what. Do you know what? I've been away 2 weeks. Leave me alone.
It's okay.
It's fine.
I will make up the time. No, I'm kidding. So I was at your home arena, and I was actually expecting it to be a quite few people because there was like 17 seats like free when I was checking before, not knowing that they had like 48 available. I thought like because it was 24 last time, so I was like, this is gonna be small. So we actually became 32 people in Lilla Skövde.
Amazing.
And that they decided to run 5 rounds of Swiss because of that, because that's what you do in a 32 tournament. I think on a pre-release maybe you don't have to in the end because you get tired of your deck. But it was actually very fun. I must say I was quite lucky to in my draws. I got like every like leader impossible that is really good. I got Yoda, I got Anakin, I got Maul, and I got Rex as well. So I had a lot of choose of, and then I just got tons of troopers. And I didn't know it at the time, but I got the rare card that is like the Defense of Camino or something, that makes all your Republic units get restored to, and when they die, they create a clone trooper.
Oh, wow.
So, I had like 2 of them. And then I drew Ayla Secura as well, which is... So I actually got a legendary this time, so I was happy. And
it helps. It helps, doesn't it?
it helps the feeling, and I think it was fun to get like such a good thing. So I actually paired them with Rex. Rex was the best pairing for all these things. Could still have been better to just play Anakin. I'm just gonna say that it could, but another fun part with this pre-release was that I actually got to play 5 different leaders, which was nice. I started up against Nala Se. That person had a lot of events apparently in his pool, and like not that many units. He basically needed to go blue-green villain, I think it was, and then he only had Nala Se as an option. So that became pretty bad for him. Then I faced... Did I face Matthias already in round 2? I think so. He played the General Grievous. And Grievous was Grievous. Like, he didn't have that many droids, so he couldn't really use the Sentinel thing. And I just swarmed him with my clone troopers. Like, multiple times during the day I had 9 guys on the board. 7 to 9 guys on the board. Just on ground, of course. Who needs space? So, beat that. I got to play Jonathan from Skövde in game 3. He was playing Ahsoka, which was fun, and I had my Rex Swarm. Was too much for Ahsoka as well. Then, because there is like draws in Star Wars Unlimited, we actually only were 2 undefeated guys going into round 4. It would have worked to play 4 rounds of Swiss to make a clear winner, but and then I had to face up against Anakin, and that was a different story. Like, it was a lot harder. Apparently he's very good, but I got game 1 because I had a good swarm, and I got Ayla Secure out before his flip turn with coordinates. So when he flipped Anakin, I got to do 6 damage to him like for free with Ayla, which meant that he basically needed to trade it into her afterwards, and I had not done that much damage to Ace, so he didn't even overwhelm anything. So I actually killed his Anakin with just the Ayla, and then I could beat him. Game 2 and 3 didn't really work out that well. I think game 2 I made a mistake. I should have played Ayla at the point when I didn't, and then Anakin just ran over the game later. I did think I got him to get him to 29, so you could say, was it a mistake, was it just unlucky? Game 3 not as close. I only got him to 24, 25 before Anakin hit me twice for 8 and then 10, I think, or something like 8 or 9. And he healed, like he had gotten that trooper that healed for 3. 2 of them. So like, I thought I was way closer than I was, and then like I got him to 26, 27. I was like, now I'm in touching distance, like heal 3, and I was like, no. And then I finished off playing against the store owner Johannes' son, Henry, right?
Yeah, Henry.
Yep. He was playing Obi-Wan, and like now I was back to playing a fair leader again. We were playing fair leaders, and I had like a broken combination, so I swarmed him completely. Even though like in game 1 he got me to 29 before I turned, so there was a lot of close games. So I think that was fun. I think after 5 games of pre-release, I felt pretty. I was okay with it. I did though, however, in the one booster I got, because like since we were so many, they could not have these prices of boosters that you can in other places sometimes. I did get a legendary. I got Satine. So in the 7 packs, I got 2 legendaries, which is pretty good rate. So yeah,
you can't complain about that.
No. Yeah. But most fun of all was like seeing the store, because now I know where we're gonna sit on the Manatorsk Cantina Brawl.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty confident in that we are gonna be able to breathe during the
I really like to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. You don't have to pass out this time, Jason.
No, I know. I still, I still whenever I sit down and play like Star Wars Marathons, I still have to like, can I breathe? Can I get air here? But no more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I kept myself from buying boxes on the day. Sort of regret it because everyone seems to have theirs now, and like, sorry for swearing, but like. And I'm just waiting, like, for my stuff, and I'm not even sure I'm getting it this week. So we'll see. So I'm just in theory crafting land at the moment. So for this next set, but super excited. So I think that's enough of this pre-release. It was very well organized. It took a little longer because it was 5 rounds. My fiance had to wait a bit longer than I had told her. Which was sad because I also wanted to draft afterwards, but that was not an option.
No, if you wanted that to be a wedding,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, or if I wanted to buy set 4, I guess. So yeah. How about you, Victor? You have so many here to talk about.
Yeah, we started out this Friday with a pre-release almost, because Uppsala isn't actually having our pre-release until tomorrow. But the Shark Tank, that is the small meta of people that really test together here, Jacob Wolleman and Tim Josefsson and me and Johan Larsson. And the 4 of us had just a small kind of pretense of a pre-release, just to be able, because the store wanted to start selling the boxes, really. So they had that as a way to be able to start selling the boxes this Friday. So yeah, we played a round robin, and like I said, it's a virtual Shark Tank. That is, Jakob is that kind of guy that can play and win with a box of, I don't know, candy. He doesn't really need cards. He's just
he needs himself.
Yeah, he's just he's a really nasty card player. He can find things to do with anything. So he scrapped something, I don't know, pretty unamazing together and beat it out of all of us. And then Tim has really got my number. I rarely, if ever, win against him in anything ever, because he just knows how to win against me in all card games. But I made a really close game against Jakob, and he beat everyone else resolutely. And I lost. I actually did beat Johan, because I think he pulled quite a poor deck. I got 3 legendaries in that pre-release kit, so wow. I'm not complaining. I got a clone, I got a Darth Maul, and I got a what else did I get? Satine Chris. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then day after went to Västerås together with Johan, and we did all right, I suppose. There, well, Johan didn't do perfectly well, but I did quite all right. I did have a really, really close game when I was unbeaten and I got pared down, and I had a really, really close game that ended up actually losing in the end. But I had that game. It was 1-1, and then I just needed to strike with my unit, and he didn't seem to have anything. I removed all the threats, and then he captured it with the 4-cost capture card that can capture pretty much anything. And he managed to play a couple of threats. I couldn't get it back, and he won. So that felt bad. And then I lost another game. Pontus, that was a guest on the show a couple of shows ago.
Yeah.
He came in second. I did beat him in the first round, but he came in second. I did pull another 3 legendaries in that pre-release kit. So I might not be winning, but I am playing well.
But you are winning.
Yeah, so you might not be winning, but you're winning.
Yeah. Exactly. And then
I'm glad that coming second gave me a deck box now, because that means I'm almost at the level of victory in pricing.
Exactly. Now, then this Sunday, I went to alphaspel.com, and that was a sold out event. I think I'm not sure. I think it was sold out in Västerås as well. Not sure. Could have been a spot.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Mälardalen. We usually sell out.
Yeah, but that's just great. That's good.
Yeah, it's good. Alphaspel was sold out as well, and they had 2 nights in a row. They did both Saturday and Sunday. They sold out both of them, I think.
Was it 16 or 32 on those?
24, I think.
24. 224. Nice.
2 times 24.
48, yeah.
So that was nice. Came in 5th. Only lost. We did best of 3 in Stockholm, and we did best of 1 in Uppsala. We're going to do best of 1 tomorrow in Uppsala. I can't remember in Västerås if we did best of 1 or best of 3. I think it was best of 3, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we should have done best of 1s in Skövde, but when we went 5 games. Yep.
I don't really see why you're doing best of 3s with sealed decks, because even
you
though
have no sideboard. Technically
you do,
yeah.
But do you really?
I mean,
do you really? Yeah.
Did any of you sideboard at all in your?
Once. I actually did. Yeah, once I did sideboard one card in one game.
Because I didn't think that the Camino thing was going to be that good, because I never seen 7 units on the board at the same time. So I was like, first game I was like, this is definitely going to happen. In with the second one.
So for the Stockholm pre-release, I played Quinlan Voss. Really like that deck. I built a green Quinlan Voss deck. Of course, I did pull legendaries again, but none that I could play in this deck. But I put a General's Blade on Quinlan Voss and went to town. The only games I dropped were to Philip, and he played Anakin. So, that's rough. I think I actually had, for the second game, I think I had a decent strategy, but I botched it pretty much because I drew into my resupply. I had 1 resupply in the deck, and I was like, ooh, I've got to play this. I haven't seen it all night.
Is resupply reprinted?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
But that was a mistake. Obviously, that's not work, because my game plan was to keep his board clear and not hit his base until he flipped Vader or Anakin, and then kill Anakin quickly and then try to win it. But playing resupply, he could establish quite a hold on the board, so I couldn't really. I was at times close to catching up on the board state, but the game never became really close, so Philip took it. I came in 5th, I think, so I guess it's fine. Got a couple of extra packs, and I'm really excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, and as you say, like 5th, 2nd, like in pre-release, like sure, skills matters obviously, but like it's 6 packs. It's also a lot of luck.
For sure.
Like if you don't get Anakin, it's gonna be rough for you. And it's not your fault. If you choose not to play Anakin.
I did get Anakin,
Yeah.
but I got no cards to support him. I had in the red pool. I had no
Yeah.
units. Only a couple. You can only play so many daring raids.
Yes.
It's not going to build a deck for you. So
Just hit base.
yeah, but no. So yeah, no, it wasn't to be Anakin for that night. Quinlan Voss did amazing for me though. I really liked him, and I think for sealed he's good, but for Premier I think he's going to be maybe together with Yoda. I think those are the two leaders to look out for in this set, really.
I think he's good for sure. I like stat line, flip wise, for sure.
Ability.
Ability is really good.
Card pool is getting amazing.
Yeah.
For sure, some of the best cards in this set are yellow heroic.
True.
So yeah, I really like Quinlan Voss's chances with the new meta here.
Yeah.
No, I can't. Yeah, I can't agree more.
And then I might be able to go to Dragon Slayer this weekend. It's sold out, but I'm first in the queue, I think. So I might, if one spot opens up, it's for me. So I might be able to get into that as well. And for anyone that's been to Dragon Slayer, you can't beat the feeling of sitting in that basement, being real cramped up, or tables that can't really fit one playmat, let alone two, and it's really noisy, and you cannot breathe because there's no air. Like that's card games for you.
Yep. Yep. No, I've been there.
That's true. It's not my favorite place, but yeah, it's a nice place still. Yeah.
Oh no, Dragon's Lair is really good, and I think as long as you kind of go out and go up for air a couple of times during the day,
you could just bring a snorkel, like a snorkel that you could pull out through up the stairs, and you can get some air out the door. Maybe I don't know.
Seems almost as easy as going out for air.
Yeah.
Take an oxygen tank with you.
Scuba dive.
There's other ways around this.
Scuba dive suit.
Yeah.
That is also like mind games on your opponents. Like,
for sure.
What are you doing in that? Like,
right. Here's a challenge to anyone.
I get oxygen.
You get no prize, and listen. You turn up to your event in a scuba diving suit. That is your challenge. You get no prize from us. But just a picture, and we'll give you a round of applause on air if you do it.
We will mention you.
Yeah, we will mention you. The power of the mention, right? Awesome. Well, that's our pre-release roundup. Yes, it's taken up half the episode, but that's okay because that's what pre-releases are. And we're all about the community. We're all about the fun that we have. And if you had a pre-release, you had a fun one, let us know because the community is the voice, and that's important. But how did you guys? We've already started talking about Quinlan Voss as the one of the good leaders as well. But what did you see anything else that could be good? Like when you play, and now you've had your hands on cards, you've seen them in action, like cards that can maybe fit into other decks that you have, other heroes that can be good. What cards do you feel that could be good in the meta?
So yeah, like I was slightly touching on with Quinlan Voss, obviously there's some really interesting yellow heroic cards coming here. Obviously Platoon. Platoon in Quinlan Voss as well is going to be able to hit Boba, one-shot Boba when he flips. So that's certainly an interesting thing.
Assuming you have coordinate.
Which
is not that hard to get.
It's not.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an interesting card, and I think it's been mentioned before. I do think General's Blade is going to see a lot of play. It's a really interesting card. It's a rare, so it's not that expensive. It's the cost 3, I think. It's +3/+3.
Yeah.
And when you on attack, you get the next unit you play is 2 cheaper.
Yeah, which is great. Like an on attack
so,
thing. Is
we know ramp is strong,
and
a +3/+3 for 3, that's pretty strong. So I think this card is going to see a lot of play.
Yeah, it's very strong. It really.
It will definitely be experimented with in the beginning.
For sure.
Yeah. I think Palpatine could be made stronger with the droids and clones and everything, because one of the ways to go up against Palpatine is to make sure that he doesn't have anything to damage or kill, so that he can do his flip turn.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be so much harder now if you build the Palpatine with clones and droids, etc., etc.
And he's already in mono green.
And he's already in mono green, exactly. So that's going to be even harder to go up against now, because he's always going to have something to make sure he gets the flip on what he needs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be really, really big.
I think the make or break of that deck is whether or not it can, if it's too slow, because that's a really slow strategy. And what does that do into... Because that's already the problem with Palpatine. He'd be one of the top decks already in set 2 if it wasn't for the fact that Sabine.
Yes.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And I don't think she's moving away.
For sure not.
Necessarily.
No.
Maybe in the beginning, because people don't want to play the old stuff, but she'll be back.
But if you look at what's in the top cut of the TTR league, the big international online league, you got...
me playing Sabine.
Yeah, the Takedown Initiative league, you got Adam playing Sabine, and you're the only one on green Sabine, but there are 3 yellow Sabines in there, and I've been experimenting with the new cards in yellow Sabine.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking mighty strong, my friend. It's looking mighty strong. So it's the yellow heroic cards are really interesting, and I think it's going to bring back yellow Sabine. It's super fast.
Fun? Question mark.
I did not say super fun. I said super fast.
Super fast. Yeah, no, you did say super fast. Yeah.
True that.
And can I say this card, because it's going straight into my Chewbacca deck? Shadowed Intentions. Like, we knew it was going to be good, but
the Voltron card.
Oh man, that is going to be really crazy. But even more, okay, I'm not going to go into Chewbacca now, because I haven't even started to go there. But Matthias, for those of you who are in our Discord, I think it was in is it deck building or one of our channels, their general discussion, Matthias put up a picture yesterday of a game he was playing where he did Voltron on this card and really beefed up his Chirrut, playing with a yellow Chirrut deck. Yeah. And it's just so bad. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 upgrades on Chirrut, 1 including Shadow Intentions, and it's just 1 hit and you're dead.
No, I'm experimenting myself, as I've said as well, with yellow Chirrut right now. It's an interesting build. Not sure it's competitive because it's so easily countered. Just
bring out your Fang Fighters.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you're no good to me dead.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, but for heroic players, we have to do what we do.
Yeah, I mean, you do have that one. There has to be every deck has to have Nicholas Hill.
Yeah.
Bamboozle.
Oh yeah, I did actually buy some hyper bamboozles.
There's 2 cards, one for heroic and one for villain, that just shuts it down.
Yep.
And
2 cards in a card full of how many now?
Well, they cost 2, and they're generally good cards played in many decks. So I am losing hope in my yellow Chirrut. It's fun, I love it, but I
think it's a deck that can win, like if it never becomes the top tier, because the people won't then necessarily take against it. Like Bamboozle don't necessarily have to be in many decks. I guess, to be fair, No Good to Me Dead is always going to be around.
No Good to Me Dead is always around, and I think Bamboozle. I do think Bamboozle is going to keep seeing a lot of play. Yeah. There was a lot of play with Bamboozle in the beginning of set 2 and at the end of set 1.
Yeah.
That's the kind of card that is going to be both inside decks and in main decks.
Yeah, it will be around for sure.
I mean, but like I said, every deck has to have a counter, otherwise the game's broken, right? There has to be a way. There has to be a
Definitely.
way to deal with the problems that people make up, and that's where we get the geniuses out there that is really good at deck building, because Yeah.
Yeah.
We create problems, and then we need to find the answer to those problems, and then those answers become problems, and then repeat.
For sure.
Eat, sleep, repeat.
For sure.
Cool. Yeah. Any more cards?
There is so many. I think like that buffs card. I'm trying Ayla Secura in the Sabine deck, trying to see like putting her out, having one more threat to ECL and timely intervention. I do think Anakin is really good as a leader, even in the constructed play.
I do think so as well. Like you get these red-blue heroic decks, and he slots right in there. He's making that. He's shifting the tempo curve of those decks. I think that's going to be interesting.
How did Maul feel? Again, did you guys play against any Mauls?
I played, but it was fairly easy for me to beat them with the Quinlan boss because he flips so much. He flips a turn earlier, and he's got all the removal tools already before. Maul doesn't do much before he flips, especially not in a sealed deck. But for constructed, I'm still holding up some hope for Maul in constructed. I think there could be something there. If you look at the boss green decks that were circling around, I think you could work with something there. If you make a good card, good stuff deck.
I agree. I think he will be the new boss green. Like he will inherit the Vader green that became boss green. It's going to be him. I do think he is like a poor man's Anakin in a way. Yeah. Like they both goes out same round, but like Anakin has a useful ability before. He doesn't really. Like maybe it's sometimes here and there, but like when you do overwhelm, then usually it's like, oh, you get 1 damage over. Okay. Not the end of the world most of the times. But he's still a body at 6/6 when he comes out, and he poses the same problem as Anakin does for people. Like if you can deal with him, you're going to hurt. And like with the ECL, for example, you can put down way more pressure and have a like already created threats that they have to answer when he flips. So like if the green-red color combination is good enough for him, I think he's going to be good. Maybe not OP, but good. I also think you can now play Force Throw in the red-green deck more consistently because you have a leader that comes out with it that you did not really have with Bosk.
So you got a few more Force users that are really good in red. You're going. That deck really loves playing Count Dooku unit, which is super strong. Comes down at 4, deals a lot of damage when it comes down, and then it's ready with overwhelm already. So that's and it's a super good overwhelming barrage target. So I this deck has legs. I don't know that it has enough legs. It might be one of those peripheral decks that is played a bit but doesn't win that much. That's where I see it right now. But people are brewing right now, so you don't know where it ends up on the scale. It's one of those that you need to practice against a little bit because you're going to face it. I think that the 2 breakout decks, like I said earlier in the pod, I think there's going to be 2 decks that we're going to see a lot in constructed, Quinlan Voss, and I think Yoda. But then I think there's a new archetype that is going to be around. I do not know how efficient it's going to be, and I think probably the best iteration of it is Wat Tambor. The Wat Tambor green deck, it's a sort of a flood the board with tokens deck. The strength of it's kind of like with Tarkin, that his ability uniquely works with this deck, because being able to just push one of them and the idea of it isn't really going wide, super wide. The idea is going wide with a lot of smaller units and then using buffs. So you use a lot of buffs in that deck. And since all the units are basically quite, meh, they can remove one, but then you just buff another. So I've played it a bit with some green, mono green Wat Tambor and some red Wat Tambor. and they're all pretty good actually. Don't know how feasible they are. I haven't really put them through the gauntlet yet, but I think they're really good actually. Well, they have potential. That's where I should be with this. I think they have potential, and that's a completely new archetype.
Yeah, and I think Vattenborg has good stats and a solid ability, especially if you go swarm. So he could for sure be interesting. Vattenborg was a really broken card in Star Wars Destiny, so it looks like they have a thing for Vattenborg here.
Could be. And I mean, it's just mono green is actually a really strong color to begin with, and like a card like Attack Pattern Delta has a home here, and at 3, that's really good actually. You get maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 clones and a regular unit or something, and then droids or clones, it really doesn't matter. And then you just push them with stats with the attack pattern, and one of them dies, so you can push one of them even more with Vattenborg's ability. You get overwhelming barrage in that deck. All of a sudden, a droid or clone could be a good barrage target. You know, it's insane, but it's actually working.
Wow, yeah,
it's fun, and the deck plays very differently from what I played so far.
Yeah. I hope there will be something new and not like more of the same. Like, I guess, as you said, testing it through the gauntlet yet. I guess like everyone is still testing the new stuff and are waiting until they feel a bit comfortable, and then they run it into Sabina Boba, and that's when people will realize if it's
actually got legs.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow. Yeah. That's really interesting, Victor. Thanks for the insight there on Vattenborg and that new archetype. That could be really interesting. Let's watch this space.
You can play it in blue as well with Newt, and you can play it in green heroic with Rex. I think the Rex deck is pretty interesting as well. But I do think Vattenborg has the best ability to play with it, because I think the boosts is really where it's at. That's what will make the deck really sing, I think.
Great. Well, we'll leave that discussion there, because this is just the start, and this is just the taste that we've got from our pre-releases. Listener might have found your own cards, your own little diamonds in the rough out there that could be really good. So if there's something we haven't mentioned, or if there's something that anyone hasn't mentioned, reach out to us and let us know, because it'd be really interesting to discuss that. But there is one more thing we want to discuss now, and actually now is very interesting now with this kind of limbo moment that we're in the moment, where we have between pre-release and release of where are the cards sitting? Where's the market sitting on the secondhand market sitting on these cards? And Victor, you've actually looked into this a little bit on Card Market, and we're like halfway through the week, so it's probably an okay time to look at this now.
Yeah, I've actually checked both Card Market and TCG Player, the US version of it. And TCG Player, for some reason, have very few listings for the things, whereas Card Market has a lot of cards available. So I don't know what that's about, but prices are fairly similar.
Okay, yeah. Well, what have you found out? What have you seen?
Well, like, what's pretty startling to me is that the legendaries of set 3 are pretty much starting at the values where we left off set 2. The most expensive, and I'm looking at the From prices at Card Market now, because I think the price trends are lagging. All of the cards, when you go into them and look at the curve, they have been falling steadily. So like if you look at General Grievous, he started out at €20, but he's been steadily falling through these days this week, and he's now down to 15 as the cheapest. So I think the price trend is lagging a little bit. So I'm looking at what are they available from, and you can actually get a list of that, and then you see that you have a few cards that are valued above €15. You got 3 of them. You got Maul, you got now there are 2 of them, and you got General Grievous. And Cad Bane is at 14.50 right now. But if you look at the card, that's not necessarily a fair assessment, because the price trend is at 19 with him, which would make him the second most expensive card in the set. And I don't know what's going on here. There are a bunch of listings around 15 euros, so I don't know really what's happening with that card. But those four would be the cards that are slightly more expensive. And then you've got Ahsoka Tano, which is about €1 cheaper than Cad Bane Grievous. So she's at 13 euros. And then you've got Ayla Secura at 11 euros, and you got Kadimundi at 11 euros. And these are kind of the prices we saw like 1 or 2 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks ago in set 2. So these cards are starting a lot lower than what the set 2 started at, and they are still dropping. They are dropping constantly. If you look at the price caps, they're all dropping. And
they will drop until after next week, I think, because that's the
pretty
re-release.
sure about that. Yeah, because people are opening boxes, and the availability is just going up. So I am a little bit alarmed by this, because if you look at the cards, they have been dropping solidly throughout set 2. The prices have been going down since release. They've just been going down, and they have plummeted since set 3 released on card market. The set 2 cards have halved their value.
Even legendaries?
I'm just looking at legendaries here.
Because I know the rare market, but that one is nothing anyway. So,
those are just not worth anything. But the Ray Keeper of the Past is the 6th most expensive card right now in set 2.
Yeah.
And she used to be around 10, 12 euros, and she's down to 6 euros now. And from there, it's just going down. Most of the legendaries are below 5 euros.
Yeah.
And if you look at the cheapest legendaries are now €1. You got Rule with Respect at €1, and you got Endless Legions at €1. That's well below rare cards.
Yeah.
So
they are unplayable, but
for sure. I agree. But even peripherally playable cards like Second Chance or Final Showdown are less than €1 for Final Showdown. It's less than €2 for Final Showdown, or Second Chance is at 2.30. That's problematic. DJ, a really playable card, I'd say important card for some archetypes, are less than €5.
Yeah.
So something is happening with the card market's prices here, and I think it's going to. You can only chalk it up to the market psychology, and the idea of these cards not being particularly valuable is actually not very good for the game, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think like it's interesting that you could buy into this game for really cheap now.
Yes.
Even set 1 cards are really cheap now. Set 1 legendaries have lost a lot of value. Only the most expensive ones are still valuable at all. Now Boba unit is down to less than 30. Luke Skywalker is at 33 euros, and Vader is at 44 euros. And of course, it's a good thing that people can get into the game and get all the cards for cheap. But in the long run, it's not a good thing if it's not perceived to be able to retain value.
Yeah.
First, the collectors are not going to be interested in a game if they don't think the cards can retain value. And we need the collectors. Us players need the collectors to believe in the game as well, because they are a huge chunk of how FFG makes their money, and they are making a lot of cards available to us on the second-hand market by opening a lot of boxes. But if they don't think they can get any value from opening boxes, I mean, not even with a lot of the showcases, you're certain to make your value back from a box. I'm a little bit scared by that. What I am happy about is why I think this is a really weird thing, because I do think there is power creep. I do think all the things we want FFG to do with new cards and new sets, they have been doing. They have been doing a slight power creep. Not much at all, and I don't want too much power creep, but they have been adding some power creep. This is very evident, because if they hadn't, if set 1 was just the strongest set, then why is Leia unplayable? Why do no one play Leia? She's unplayable because there are stronger cards in set 2. Look at like the 3-5 stat line. That stat line is now quite readily available at 3 since set 2, because there have been a slight power creep. Even if you look at the legendaries, you do see about 5 or 6 of the legendaries from set 2 slotting in with the legendaries of set 1. The set 1 legendaries are not replaced because they were really strong. But the power creep isn't in replacing all the cards. That's bad power creep. Good power creep, what FFG has given us, is a power creep where new cards are slotting in and you need to build new decks to keep up with the meta, but you can still play all the old cards in a new environment. So yes, Vader and Luke might very well be the strongest cards, even though I think Poe might be stronger. But they are very strong. They still belong in the decks, together with Poe, together with Snook, together with Darksaber. There's maybe 6 or 7 even legendaries from set 2 that definitely have strong homes in deck. DJ has a strong home. Even Second Chance has a home in some of the decks that are playing her, like Blue, Ray, and so on. So a lot of the legendaries from set 2 are doing what they are supposed to be doing. But that's not the perception, is it? The perception is that set 2 was...
You watch your language.
Sorry, but yeah, that's the talk on town. And I think that's why the value is dropping. And set 3 has had already a lot of talk about being, well, is it that good? Are the cards strong? And I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a good thing that they're not too strong. And I'm sure a lot of these legendaries are going to find a home alongside the old legendaries. Just the way a healthy card game should be working. FFG, they are knocking it out the park with design here. And people are just not really, understanding what they're doing when they are this pessimistic and, being this gloomy about this really excellent design. People are talking about broken metas in a game where people are playing tons of different decks. Even though Boba is overrepresented in winning, there's a ton of different decks being played. And that is at the highest peak of competitiveness. All this groupthink that the game isn't in a healthy place, I think that's driving something that might in turn become unhealthy. Because if people aren't opening boxes, there's not going to be all that many cards available.
Yeah. Jason, do you want to jump on this before I go on Victor/Jason monologue myself?
What do you mean? I have no idea what you mean, Adam. I have no idea. But yeah, if you go and have a cup of tea for 10 minutes or something, we'll ping you when it's time. I'm not really sure what I think. I mean, I'm nowhere near that kind of an economist in any types and looking at thing. In a way, I'm kind of, for my own personal collection, like the fact that legendaries are cheaper, I'm thinking, great, I don't need to buy as many boxes. Exactly what Victor said, because I can go and buy the stuff to complete the collection, which I wasn't considering thinking that I'd even do for this set, because maybe some of the legendaries will be, a bit too much unless I get lucky. Because I think this game is fantastic, and my immediate thing is panic. Like, is the panic of, but I want this game to stick around, What do we do about this? That's my first. My second thought is, okay, why is this happening? Why are people thinking that? And is it because of Boba, Sabine, that there are two only decks only winning now, that people don't think they have a chance to do that? They don't want to pick it up because of that. Is this a downside now of it, because one of the other downsides of the problem of Boba? I don't know. It's a discussion to have.
I can jump in here and try to comment that a little bit.
Yeah.
If you don't have a third point. I thought you only had two.
Not at all. And I'm thinking they're here with 2 boxes of Twilight of Imperium in front of me that I've been sorting out.
I think that's a board game anthem. Twilight of the Imperium, right?
Twilight of the Republic.
Thank you. I've been doing Imperial cards here, there, Twilight of the Republic. Thank you. That's what this set is called. Yeah. But all these cards around me, thinking, oh man, if I get a showcase, that's great. But actually, now if I get a showcase, is that going to be worth anything? But there has to be. If this is a low point and stuff like that, we're just speculating. Where do we go from this? How do we actually recover this? Because, like you say, it's a good game design, but a good game design should be rewarded, right?
Exactly.
So how do we do this? And like I said, another point that I made earlier, and maybe I think it was when we're talking about off screen or something, like Manatorsk, they had 32 instead of 22 players. They had a whole load of new local players. They had the one place that I was in Oxfordshire, they're normally 5 or 6 people. They had 16 players turn up. The game is growing, more people are picking it up if you're looking at the pre-release numbers that have that area. So in my thing is actually this isn't a good place that people are picking it up, but the prices are showing something different. Adam.
Yeah. So I think one thing to remember is that FFG was actually, when they released the game before, they talked how it was going to be a very available game for everyone. One key thing that they wanted to say, it was not going to be too expensive and shut people out. So they have kind of succeeded with that, but they still have prices on their boxes, like any other game that does shut people out. So it's a massive problem that it is so cheap with some of the legendaries, because you can't recoup your boxes. So why would you buy a box? You can only recoup it basically by drawing a showcase, which is every 12 box. Tough. And my main problem, I think, with why this is, there is some of this what you are talking about, Victor, as well, like with this scaredness of the market and the perception of things being bad. But I also think that there is a lot of legendaries that are really bad, and then there are too many that are really bad, and then you have, if we look back at set 2, the legendaries that you are talking about, most of them have only a home in one deck, a certain deck, compared to a lot of the set 1 legendaries that you slot in almost every deck, like with that color. Like you have Vigilance that you even played when you didn't double blue. You have Cunning that you also did. You have Luke that is in every blue deck hero. You have Vader is in every blue, every green villain. Every green villain. You can just play Maul if you want to go a cheap version, but like he is that potent. And in set 2, and I think what people fear in set 3, there are no legendaries at all that will go into multiple top decks, or in every color, which means some people only play 2 or 3 decks, right? So these people, most people then won't need those cards. Even people that only plays 2 decks will and they play the blue. All of those people would need the Vigilance maybe, and the Snoke and stuff like that. So I think more people can play this game and don't have that many legendaries compared to other games. I think that is could be an issue, and that's why it is problematic that the legendaries they print are so niche. For example, Darksaber, which is a great card, but it's only played in Sabine. So if you're not a Sabine player, you can just not buy it.
This is true.
And I think that's the main issue. If they are not going to power creep, which we kind of agreed on, we want them to power creep but this little, right? That it was a good thing. Then they have to make the good legendary cards need to be the cards you want to play in many decks. Like in set 2, I think Toro Calican would have been a more valuable like legendary.
Yeah.
For example, because he's a really good card. You could have made if Wrecker, maybe not Wrecker because he was only in Sabine, but yeah, like they have the
he's
wrong
in all heroic red decks. They play Wrecker.
So like. If they want to not power creep this hard, which I think is good, they have to make the generic, like the good generic cards, the legendary cards, if they want to retain some value. I would argue.
Yeah, I mean, an alternative could be that the new legendaries could be alternatives of the already high cost legendaries. Stick with me for this one, because all I'm thinking when you were saying that, Adam, was, well, these cards are like, if you want to build a green villainy deck one way, you go Vader. If you want to build it another way, it's viable because it's better, but equally as strong or whatever, you go another way with another legendary. And then you don't need Vader, you go for the other one as well. So that you have like two different ways of building the same deck, or you know what I mean? Like I'm coming from a place where I was looking at the Kira one, and I kind of thinking, well, I can either go one way and go Snoke, or I go one way and I go Palpatine. Two good cards, two very good cards, but it depends what I want to do with my deck. Two alternatives which are, in my eyes, quite equal, depending on what I'm playing against. Sideboard one, put the other one in.
But that's not how you build value in the cards. That's what they're doing now. And they agree with you, and I think it's kind of an idea they had. They made the rares, the rare slot where they made these generally strong cards.
Yeah, which is I think that is one of the reasons, because
I see what you mean.
Because the legendaries are the ones that are hard to get in a box.
Yeah,
and if they are not the best cards, then as we can see on the rare market, there's so many rares out. You cannot have a high value rare card.
No.
I guess if nobody buys a box, yes, everything will get a higher value. But guess what? If people stop buying boxes, the game dies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
FFG can't make any money back.
Yeah.
I think that you're probably onto something here. That they've the tactic of making the rares the evergreen cards is actually problematic for the value of the boxes. I realize what you're talking about, Jason, because it feels great for us players that we can find these cards even when we're drafting, and that they're available to us, and we have these options you're talking about. Like we can go either way, but having all these options makes it so that nothing is really that expensive. And if nothing ever gets that expensive, it should be a little bit more expensive than it is right now, because like, again, if you give away a box, if giving out packs and boxes are the main price structure of any tournament, that's not worth anything. I got a box and it's worth 200 crowns. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that is like, and there is a problematic trend that I see. Like, there are some stores, because maybe of the thing you talked about, perception, that sells the boxes for around 900 Swedish kroners, not in Sweden but in other countries. And that is like very like that's not a lot of win margin. Probably for the stores, but they don't think they will sell the boxes otherwise.
Exactly.
And like, I think they have to make the legendaries more better, but also generic, like
generically strong.
Yeah, generically strong.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
staple cards.
Like, for example, like Vader is generic. You can play him in any green villainy deck.
But then to bring a little bit of a gold star to FFG again, if you look at a card like Grievous in this set, that would be him, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think
so. And he's not even the most expensive card in this set yet.
Yeah, I think we yet have to see like how it balances. It also has to fit, right? Blue, black, blue villain is usually control. And maybe sometimes you just don't need the best body. You need something more.
Yeah.
But like, if he was in a mid-range deck, like if blue villain was more mid-range, he would be more sought out for.
Have you seen the new Krennic builds that are floating around?
I have, a little bit, but
they are very mid-range.
Yeah, I think he has a home there, though. Yeah. So I think, and there is a little bit. We talked about it before the podcast about the iconic of some characters. I think Luke and Vader is funnier for most people to play, so that bumps them up a little bit. I think you can see that Poe still holds a high value, even though, and he's not un-iconic. To be fair.
No.
He's okay.
He's no Vader. But
he's no Vader.
Grievous is actually, he's not a Vader, but he's
semi-iconic.
For your generation, I think he's pretty strong, right? You like him, don't you?
Yes, and like people like him in the Clone Wars, even if you don't like the prequels.
I loved him in the Clone Wars.
So I think he's fairly iconic and people like him.
So there's some potential here.
Yeah.
FFG is actually doing a lot right, aren't they?
No, they are.
Yes.
But I think we need to. Do we need to give it time?
Yeah,
yes.
I think only time will tell.
Only time will tell, and actually not panic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the most important part.
I think it's FFG that right now it's not okay. It's somewhat problematic for people who likes to open boxes, right? But if you just buy singles, for you as a private person, it's not really a problem.
No.
FFG has a lot of players who wants to play this game.
Yes.
So they have to figure out how they are gonna make money on it, and like. They do have many people wants to buy this, so they have a lot of potential, like what do you call sheep to slaughter, and drain money from. They just need to become a little bit more efficient, right? They don't have to become like the Wizards of the Coast. But they don't need to be that. I think they need to be, because it's fun to open boxes, right?
Yeah,
it is.
And they don't need to be that yet. But again, maybe it gets to a point where this game is that big, and it is
but we still don't want them to be Wizards of the Coast on training training the community and push them to play Commander.
No, but in terms of being that big and stuff, and the cars withholding the value, it's actually yes, they aren't there yet, but they have the potential to be there as well. So as every Brit would say, keep calm and carry on.
Yeah, I think that's actually very appropriate here, though.
Yeah,
because I think that's the main lesson out of this, that we're seeing so many good things out of FFG right now, sign-wise, that hopefully they will get this under control as well.
I think one thing they might do if they want to continue this is they are going to push more draft tournaments. Because that sells packs.
And
draft is the best I've never enjoyed draft as much as I've enjoyed draft in Star Wars.
I really love draft.
It's
always
amazing.
But this set has a lot of potential for that. Of course, Anakin being slightly overpowered is a problem, but outside of Anakin, I think this set is really fun to play, really fun to build in a sealed or draft environment.
And draft-wise, it's a bit a shame he wasn't a rare.
Now, the other thing that we have to remember here is that the first 3 sets were designed together.
Yes.
Which is why you do get some, Rebels coming a little bit later, and some cards that really did fit for maybe this set came out a little bit earlier because it just needed to fill that hole. So the first 3 sets are the base for the game, you could say, because everything else I think will build from this. Because so this is like phase 1. If we go down the Avengers, it's still Disney. We can still go to talk about Marvel and Avengers and stuff. You have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This is phase 1 complete now with Twilight of Republic. I said it right that time. So now you've got the base here. The decks, surely all these decks will get support going on now, depending with what they're doing in the future.
I'm not sure all of them are going
Maybe
to
not
get
every
support.
single one. I mean, unfortunately for Jin,
Yeah.
maybe not all
sure
of them.
she's going
But a
to
lot
get
of these decks now will get support. Leia will have her time in the sun again, I am sure. Chewie will finally have his time in the sun. I'm so confident of it.
I am not. On
No,
either Leia or
where's that mute button? Where's that mute button?
No, but for sure, I think there's a lot of room for even those decks and leaders that won't necessarily get more support.
Yeah.
They still have a room in Twin Suns or Draft or...
That's cool.
If they're going to keep these sets around and in print for a long while, which they have kind of alluded to, they've hinted at that. Then you are going to go back and draft Sparkle Rebellion and draft. I did draft Sparkle Rebellion back in Copenhagen for the PQ, and it was awesome playing that set again for draft format. And I think in a year or two, I might still feel the same way about the smuggle mechanics and going back and drafting in set 2. It might be really good,
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I just want to hit one thing. I think one of the reasons why set 1 is also plumbing a little bit right now. People are afraid that it's gonna dive too much when the reprint come, and they pre-sell, right? So we will see. We don't really know how big the reprint is even. So we will see where it's gonna land. But I guess that's the only.
I mean,
more.
that could be a big factor here. People know the reprint's coming in a couple of weeks. Who wants to buy the set 1 cards when they could pull them? Now they can actually get their hands on them. So we'll see what happens when that actually comes, because there's still Shadows of the Galaxy stock out there.
Yes,
there's still Twilight. So the print runs are a balance now. We're doing pretty well now. We'll see what happens with Twilight, but let's just not panic and enjoy the game, and don't be afraid to spend that little bit extra on that card.
No,
because if you need it,
money. That's.
I mean, but it's not. Don't just look out for the best deals. That's okay. Just support the market.
Don't forget to support your stores. I think
that's more important. I think that's
support
more
the stores. Yeah.
Even if you want to play most of it in singles, sure. But if you have a local store, support that one with at least one.
Or at least buy a pre-release kit or something, because that's awful lot of fun. You won't regret spending a couple of $100 crowns on an evening of fun.
But you will regret when the store closes.
Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So support your local. We'll put Manatorsk's link in the in the thing, because that's my local. There we go. Well, that's the conversation tonight. It's difficult to kind of round up everything, but if you want to round up, go back and listen to it, and then there we go.
And write a summary.
And then write a summary. Write us a summary. There we go. We just put it into AI or something, or put it through Copilot, and that'll give us a summary. But thank you all so much for listening, to staying with us. It was a bit longer tonight, but I think that was a really important discussion that we actually addressed this. Victor, thank you very much for your insight there. That was fantastic. And thank you for doing the research as well there. Adam, thank you for your insights and your journey through your pre-release, and
you're welcome.
I'm going to thank myself that I stayed awake after waking up at 4 a.m. this morning.
Thank you for hosting, Jason.
Thank you so much.
But I got to talk about my amazing time at the Oxshed in Oxfordshire. So, not that anyone in here in Sweden, listening in Sweden, is going to get there. But there we go. But if you do, go. It's amazing. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. See you next week. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.